to bother you?
In addition, thank you to our cornerstone investors. These are our top investors at the Chamber, and they are at the top, so all businesses can be able to join at all different levels. And I'm going to read them all together, and y'all can give them a round of applause when I get done. Piedmont Macon, Gilmer Warehouse and Logistics. If you represent these companies, raise your hand. Wesley Glen Ministries, there we are. Right at Home, it's right at home, and then there we are. Macon Industrial Authority. Pat, raise your hand. Thank you. If you are a proud ambassador of the Greater Macon Chamber of Commerce, stand up and let us thank you. Stand up. Look at all of our This group is the ultimate volunteers. They will tell you about the chamber. They often call you and check in on you. But they stay engaged and meet once a month, and they look like they're having a really good time together. They're at all of our ribbon cuttings, and we're just so grateful for our ambassadors. We are also grateful for those who have just stepped into the chamber and joined recently. And so I always like to say, save the loudest applause for now. If you are part of these businesses, please, and organizations, please just stand up as I call your name. Blue Chip Custom Website Design. Blue Chip Branding and Headshots. And big brothers, big sisters. So thank y'all for stepping in to join. Okay, I'm about to stop and turn it over. This is a big week for our chamber, going into a big week for our chamber. Next week, State of the Community on Tuesday. We are going to descend upon the Macon City Auditorium, probably about 700 of us, to hear the Mayor's State of the Community address. It is never dull, I promise you. It is worth being there to hear it. We have plenty of balcony seats still available, so you get a bird's eye view to that. You also get access to the Taste of Macon, which is going to feature nearly 20 local restaurants serving out their best bites, so you get to have a variety for your lunch that day. It's going to be incredible. If you can still register on the website, I encourage you to do it ahead of time because the lines are long once you get there. That is on Tuesday. Then on Thursday, we're going to have the after party. That is going to be business after hours. We have a brand new host, so it's always fun to go into a new space. That's Tier 2 Technologies. They're on Riverside Drive behind BREWing Restaurant. Tier 2 is the coolest building you will see in Macon. It is an old electrical power company, but it also used to be a nightclub. And so the bar is still there. And they do technology and IT. Super smart, and they have like a halo set up in the lobby and all kinds of fun stuff. Y'all want to be at this BAH. We'll get started at 5:30, but of course everybody loves to get there early. It will be a great time. Please register for that so we know you're coming and can have your name tag ready for all of that. Okay, one more thing I'm going to say, and I don't think, well, she's probably stepping out the door, but y'all, today's a big important day in Greater Macon Chamber of Commerce history. Our VP of Finance, Jennifer Bronner, has been here for 20 years today. Hopefully she would just quit, and that's no, she is such a rock for us in the chamber. If you know Jennifer, she is just an incredible human being. In fact, she may have done 20 years here, but only just a couple years ago, she won the 5 under 40 for Macon Magazine. So she is still very young. This was her first job out of Berry College, and we are so lucky. So if y'all see Jennifer, just be sure to wish her a happy 20 years. We are all better because of her. All right. With all that said, I think I covered it all. And Joshua, I'm going to turn it over to you for this incredible panel.
Thank you so much for being here today. I want to take a moment to recognize my staff. We are all journalists and people who are not used to the spotlight other than our written work, so they're in the back of the room. Will y'all stand up for just a minute? I mean, we have a team of 9 in our office, so we're really thankful for them. On a personal note, I've been in Macon for about 8 months now. Some of you have just reached out and wrapped your arms around me and welcomed me. Just a lovely place to live and grow and work and have fun. I'm very happy to be here. I want to start with a startling statistic about just local newsrooms for a second. So across the country, more than 3,500 local newsrooms have closed since 2005. But Macon chose a different path. And the Melody launched in June 2024, so we're almost 2 years old. as a nonprofit community newsroom. And we operate from Mercer's campus. And at a time of deep contraction for local journalism, we're growing. So we just added a full-time reporter. We have a ton of new products coming. If you have subscribed to the RIF, our daily AM newsletter, which has added 800 subscribers since it launched in January, you can see that. So we chose a different path, and we thank you for coming with us on that. I encourage you to go to maconmelody.com and see how you can plug in, and also follow along with what we're doing in terms of local news. So with that said, let's start our panel. I'm so excited to talk to you all about mastering the art of connection, because this is something that, of course, I do every day, and I think I'm pretty good at it, but I would love to get your perspectives on this. So think about a connection. This is just open to anyone who might want to speak. A connection that actually changed something for you, your work or your organization. So what happened with that connection? How was it built, and what happened with it?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Betsy Fitzgerald with Big Brothers Big Sisters. So I have a really crazy connection that happened, it happened when I was younger in college. I was a junior, and I went to music conservatory. And like any good musician, you need a really good axe, i.e. your instrument. And I had to do a lot of extra gigs to pay for my harp. And one day I had a 4-hour Easter brunch type gig. And I'm rolling back through the hallways where it was still snowing outside in Rochester, New York. And this man stopped me. And I could have been a typical, college student. I could have been a stuck-up musician that day. And just nodded, because they made a joke. But it wasn't the typical, don't you wish you played the flute? They knew not to do that, at least. Because my flutist was actually hauling the rest of my junk with me, my gear, my amp and all. And it turned out to be one of the top entertainer, music conductor from Walt Disney World Entertainment. And I stopped and I joked, and he's like, what are your summer plans? And I was like, hopefully being somewhere warmer. Because I'm a Georgia girl, and I was very, very cold that day, and not in a really great mood because I was hurting. And he was like, well, would you talk to me? Would you go have coffee with me and talk about maybe coming down to Walt Disney World? And I was like, And part of me was like, I have so much to do. I am tired. I want to go home. I want to pour myself a glass of wine. I was old enough. And I was ready to do this. But the great thing was that I was able to start building a quick relationship with somebody who, yes, he was at a music conservatory. It made a good assumption that I could actually play the harp. I wasn't just some random person off the street. But what happened was I still have a career performing once in a while at Walt Disney World Entertainment, just simply because I gave him the chance, I smiled, and I had that coffee, which did warm me up that day. It was a lot of fun.
That's all.
My name is Katrina Coens. I'm the founder and CEO of Coens Consulting Services, LLC. And I moved to Macon almost about 8 years ago. And so what I call my first friend here was actually, her name is Mia Robbins Aguilar. And she was introduced to me by my mom. And he was like, how did your mom introduce you to someone in Macon, and you all are from Florida? So my mom, when she, supported me in this move, she started calling her friends. And she's like, my daughter's moving to Macon, Georgia. And one of her friends said, my niece has a friend that she went to college with that lives in Macon. So they connected us, and even before I moved, I came to visit Macon about a month before I moved here, and Mia came to my hotel. We talked, and she's like, once you've moved here, let's connect, and I'll start, inviting you to things, and she did. And so one of the first invites I got to go to was a party at Kevin and Shanita's house for 4th of July, because I had just moved here June 28th, so I'm like, I'm not going back to Florida just a few days later. And Mia, and I guess I thank her for this, because she was the type, I didn't know originally, she showed up a little bit late all the time. And I'm going to sleep early. So it forced me, everything she invited me to, she pretty much was late. So I got to know people really early because I was like, well, I'm already here. So I got to talk to people. I got to meet people. And so I credit her for a lot of the community events, a lot of the business people that I know, because she invited me to a lot of things, and she was late, and I was early. But I'm grateful to my mom, too. She's always instrumental. If I have an issue, I'm going to call my mom, and she even figured it out in a different state that she didn't live in. But I think it's so connections that not only you make, but that other people can make for you. And if you, again, stay connected. And I will honestly say see Mia that often, but I still consider her my first friend. And if she ever needs me, I'm there for her, and I feel like the same way. And of course, like everybody else in here that I've talked to almost, she loves Asia. So she would take her if I let her. That's my daughter. But that's my story. My first friend, and she's made, like I said, her introductions and her invites a great place to live for me and my daughter, Asia.
So again, this is for anyone. When you walk into a room full of people you don't know, and I'm still a relative newcomer, so today that was me coming into this room in many ways. What's your approach to making a meaningful connection? And I think I love what you said about it starts with a smile. So anyone else?
I'm Amy Scott with Marketing USA. So this is pretty much what I do for a living. I make connections. When I first moved here a couple of years ago, I made sure to make the chamber my number one thing to go to, because that's where I'm going to meet a lot of people. I found a good church where I met a lot of good people, and I got a job in sales where I was out meeting potential customers, yes, but also turning them into connections that would either help me or help somebody that I knew so I could make the connection dot. So a lot of it's purposeful. When I go into a room, mostly I find somebody who's standing alone. Because number one, I don't want to interrupt the conversation that's already going on. And number two, this person might be a shy person. And I've been called a lot of things in my life, but shy was never one of them. So I go up and just kind of start with a smile and say, this is who I am, and what are you doing here, kind of thing. But it's always a good way to start a conversation asking about somebody else and about what they think or what they do, something along those lines. So then I can then use that to connect with somebody else.
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. Satu Neda with Gilmore Warehouse. So I have a very specific problem. I hate big crowds. I don't like them. I don't like talking to people in general that I don't know. So I have a very specific intent when I go into a room of people I don't know. The first person that makes eye contact with me is the first person that's in trouble, because that's what I'm That's my way of doing it. It's the way I've always done it. It's the first person that looks at me, I've got it. And you go from there. They're going to always introduce you to somebody else, typically. And if they don't know anybody else, then the second person that looks at me is in trouble. That's always been my method, and I like doing it that way. So. It's a bit of a game. So you can see me and you don't want to talk to me, look down.
Jeff Wilhelm, Northwestern Mutual. And so I think what Amy says is really important too. I try and find the common ground. So when I'm room full of people, we all have different backgrounds and kind of experiences we've lived so far. So I think it's important to kind of ask questions, be curious, find where that common ground overlaps. And then that's where the real magic and relationships are built. We all have kind of shared experiences, and then we can kind of lean into that. I will give you all a quick tip that I kind of use, kind of a mental framework. I use, it's called FORM. So when you're talking to someone new, family, occupation, recreation, and then message. So honestly, the first three are kind of where you find that common ground. And the last do you want to kind of get out of that relationship? How do you kind of keep the conversation moving forward, and how do you build that connection?
My features editor in the back, Evelyn, always talks about my accent. So I've noticed that when I go to talk to someone, they will say something about my accent most times, and that's always a good icebreaker. And I told Evelyn the other day, I don't really sound like this. This is the game I play. This is my work voice. But so Jeff, I want to focus on you because of your chamber ambassador ties. How does that change the way you connect with people?
It's made a huge impact on both kind of not only my business but personally. And I'll kind of rewind for a second. So I moved to Macon during COVID. Great time to meet people, right? And so luckily, I've been hearing about Macon for many years before that. One of my very good friends and groomsmen, Lincoln Mercer, and his brother still in Macon, so he connected me. And his brother happened to be the outgoing chair of the ambassador committee and serving on the executive board for the chamber. And so he really encouraged me to kind of plug in, to make those connections and use the ambassador program to kind of build my network and meet people. And kind of just like Trey mentioned, having someone here who can help introduce you and share your network. He really kind of got me plugged in a very quick way. So I was kind of able to kind of leverage some of his connections and advice about Macon and really start to understand the kind of the city where we're called to live. And the ambassador program led me to Leadership Macon. Best class ever, 2024. We're under contract to say that. But in Leadership Macon and the ambassador program all kind of showed me kind of understanding who the key players were in Macon and how amazing and connected everyone is. They're not just silos. The people in Macon enjoy collaboration and working together. And that's made the ambassador program so much fun. As I'm meeting new business owners, understanding connections, and getting plugged in a very quick way.
Amy, I'd love your perspective on this too, your chamber involvement and how that's helped you connect in a new place.
Thank you. So I moved here 2 years ago, and first stop was the chamber. Because before I even got a job or any of that, I knew that this was the place that I could make connections that would matter. And I could also help people make connections with other people. And that really matters too. So showing up is, half of it. You just go, you show up, and you just start meeting people. And then to follow up, what I often do with people that we find common ground and really want to get a deeper conversation is invite them for coffee and have coffee a week later, and then we're able to get a more personal level, and I'm able to find out what their skills, their needs, their abilities are, so that when I meet other people, I can say, hey, I know somebody who does this. And so that has been very helpful for me. I've made friends, not just business acquaintances, but I've turned them into friends. So that's how it's helped me.
I want to open this up to everyone too, so because I know Macon is growing, we have new people coming in all the time. For someone who is new or they just don't know how to plug in, one of the things we hear about at the Melody a lot is there's so much going on, how do I keep up with it all? So I'd love some perspective from everyone, anyone who's interested in talking about this. What do you tell people to do first? How do you plug in Macon? Anybody?
Well, for me, my strategy when I first moved, now I'm just getting invited to events and parties, but to get involved in your community. When you do community service and when you're involved, you will start getting invited to do more things. And so not only is it a great way to get involved and meet people in your community, you can learn new skills, and just, again, form relationships. That's a lot how I've met great friends. But once you start getting involved, you start getting invited, your calendar will be filled. But you just have to, get started. And once you get connected, connected, you will stay connected.
I'll add just two quick things there. Show up, be consistent. You can't, not go. You can't get plugged in and you don't do anything. You got to put yourself out there. And then, but be you, be authentic. Find out who you are and how you can make those real connections with people, and then your calendar is going to blow up from there.
I'm going to shift your question a little bit because we're a collegiate town. We have how many institutions here? You have a lot of people coming into the job market that are fresh, brand new, and if any of us are business owners or work right now, we have this little issue with soft skills. Just a little bit, right? And something that is a really major benefit, getting connected to the community, is using an organization where you can have transferable skills. Like at Big Brothers Big Sisters, we do a lot of research on relationship building. Obviously, it's aimed at having a trusted mentor and adult with a youth, but when you become a part of our program, the consistency is there. The genuine curiosity is learned. You learn about how to break the ice. You learn how to start building a different type of relationship, but with no stress. This is not your job and your commission writing on this and being able to pay your mortgage. This is something about building those relationships and learning new skills. And at the end of the day, you actually have a huge impact on the youth, but this is going to be transferable into your public world, into your work world, and be able to build you into those networks to start those new connections and maybe also seeing a little different side of something that you might not have gotten before you got out of college.
Well, unfortunately, you're my next victim. So you've built strong relationships very quickly in Macon, and I think that requires a lot of intention. So I'm curious, what things did you do intentionally to get plugged in?
I love the work out of the mind.
All right, so there's a couple of things, right? Number one, you have to put in a lot of effort, right? Everyone thinks that you show up at an event, make that first eye contact, and off you go. You have to, I think Jeff, you said it, you can't just show up once and leave it at that. So you have to put in a significant amount of effort. For us, as a company, that also means other people getting involved. So we intentionally task 3 or 4 people who have connections in Macon or have lived here for a while or have the energy and ability to get out and talk to people. We really say, let's go out and meet people in the community. Let's go out and meet people that can help us, that we can help, right, and build a relationship. And we've done about it a couple of different ways. I mean, the chamber's been great, right? I'll the chamber real quick and say, the Macon chamber for me, out of all the chambers I've been a part of, somebody said it earlier, I think it's very unique in the fact that many people, most people here really, really have an urgency and a desire to connect people. So that's made it easy, to be honest, but it's been a big help. The other person that's been a big help to us, and it's really through a business relationship, is my friend David down here at St. Oaks. Take your connections that you have, whether it's a vendor or a customer, and see who they know. And so that's been a big connector for us. Right? He has connected us to so many people, and that's been a big help. The other one, and people rule it out nowadays because it's become spam in a way, don't rule out LinkedIn. It's still very powerful. You have to know how to use it. Everyone just clicks connect, and the other person on the other end says deny. But really look through that list. Look through the people you know who have a third or a second or a third connection. I've made 3 or 4 really good connections like that. And then you've got to follow up. And you said it earlier, right? It's not just making the connection, it's the follow up. So yeah, you connect through LinkedIn, and a lot of people leave it at that, and now you've got 700,000, 2,000 people you're connected to. Woohoo, you know through it. What value does that have? So then you've got to follow up, and you can follow up by an email, you can follow up by a phone call, you can follow up by a message through LinkedIn. So we've done a lot of that too. And then the other one that works for me, because I'm that kind of person, is go and sit in the bar, go and find a bar, go sit in it. When you're on your own, somebody will come and sit next to you, we'll strike a conversation, and you'll meet a bunch of people. I've met 2, 3 really good business people here,
So he makes eye
own bars and
contact.
restaurants, just because I've been there frequently enough. the intent.
Great. I'm gonna ask you to hold the mic for one more question. You're very thoughtful about who you spend time with, who you choose to spend time with. Is there a strategy to that? Any tips on how to kind of prioritize connections?
It's interesting because, you know, you send the question down here, I saw that question a lot. I'm sure I have. And the answer is, it's like, I've got to come up with a strategy. Right? I'm actually quite the opposite. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the janitor or the CEO. I won't talk to you, right? I just don't care. And so I intentionally, I've realised through the question and actually pondering it for a minute that I actually don't have an intent there. A lot of people always go into a room and try and find the highest ranked individual there. That's about who I talk to, right? I'm actually quite the opposite. I'll talk to that first person that looks at me, and I don't mind who you are, and I'll keep talking to you, and eventually it will go somewhere, right? So I would say actually I'm quite the opposite. I have no idea.
Gotcha.
Right.
That's good. Yeah, you're good. So Betsy, in your role, you meet a lot of people. So what makes someone stand out to you as someone you want to connect with? Or is it more of that general approach? You just connect with whoever you can and you see where the chips fall?
I like both, but I think that the smile, a lot of people say that to me. They're like, when you walk into a room, that's how I see you. And, I believe that just being genuine and being yourself and your level of interest, and, that's really important. And sometimes when we walk into a room, we're having a bad day. There's a lot of bad going on right now, personally and out in the world. And I think that when you can make that, just even like find some common ground, let's talk about the Falcons again. And, I'm just joking to all of my friends. We're Dallas people at my house, so we know losing very well. But just having that moment and being able to have that genuine connection, I think is really important. And the follow through, because I have tried really hard, and then the world has come against me this year. But how many times do we say, and it's normally November when we have that awesome year-end celebration with the chamber. Next year's gonna be better. I know we're gonna say let's go have coffee, Tanya. Okay, do we? No, because it never gets easier. Our schedules, it literally, the rat race gets worse, right? And this year I really was intentional and started off January very well, and then, my life, my personal world kind of came off, and my priorities had to change. But I think, just being intentional, like if you really want to try to build a relationship, don't be pushy. And, hey, if I know that you're at the bourbon bar over and having a cocktail tonight, maybe that's when we need to have it. Maybe it's not coffee. Okay, so but let's do it and show up and be there. And I think that's going to really make that big difference. And because like you, I could be friends with the wallpaper if I wanted to be, but there's going to be days that why am I here? Don't make eye contact.
Thank you. I want to open this up to everyone, and I don't want you to think about this like the sales funnel. So when someone says sales funnel to me, my neck gets tense and I lock up. But how do you move from an initial introduction to a relationship that actually lasts? And I'll just open this up to everybody for comment. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
No, I think it's been said already, but I'll just say it again for repetition, right? It's follow through. You've got to follow up. If you take somebody's phone number, it's a bit like the LinkedIn connect. If you're just going to take a phone number and put it in your phone,
Right.
what's the value? There's no value to it. So if you really want to make a connection, then take the information. I use Blink. It's the digital business card, right? If I give that to somebody and they scan it, my expectation is they're going to contact them, or I will contact them. And so you have to follow through. I think that is the most critical thing. Hey, nice to meet you. Let's connect at some point. Leave it at that. It's simple as that. You have to do it as well.
I want to add to that because I go to a lot of networking events. That's what I do. And I will tell you that there are just a couple of things that you really need to know when going to a networking event. One is to make sure you have your business card with you. Because if you don't, whether it's a digital card or a paper card, but if you don't, then you're more likely to be forgotten pretty easily. The second thing is that when you do exchange a business card with somebody, you have literally 48 hours to make that connection, to follow up, or you will be forgotten. So 48 hours, that includes weekends, folks. So if you go to an event on a Thursday or a Friday night, you're probably gonna send an email on a Saturday, that's okay, or make a phone call. But to follow up and to do so with intention within that time frame is very important. We don't have attention spans like we used to. I think now it's, what, an app, not like that. So make sure that we have the business cards and you follow up within 48 hours.
I'll say one more thing. I said it, but I want to say it more clearly. Use your technology. Every single person in this room has a phone now, right? It has a digital business card. I've gone through about 5,000 paper cards in the last 4 months, and most probably only given out 3. The rest are in the laundry machine. They're in the washing machine. They all end up in the washing machine every single time. And when I receive a paper business card, it ends up in the washing machine. So try and use your digital tools. They're all out there, there's lots of different ones, but they even will follow up with you. They'll tell you, hey, you received a new business card 2 days ago, you need to follow up. So use the tools. Super handy.
I love that because as a national organization, I travel a lot, and I have to tell you that sometimes there's a cute joke about how sometimes we're a little behind the fashion trends here in some things. The digital business card is something that I have fought here because when I tried to do it years ago, like no one used it, and I had that dirty look, almost like QR codes before COVID, right? And then your mom finally figured out how to do it with her phone. But I'm glad you brought that up because I do think that we do have to propel, and it's good business, and it helps you organize you. It's great. I wanted to just throw out there because everything everyone's saying is great, but when you're having that conversation, I'm getting to that age where I forget things. And so sometimes I do like the paper business card because I can jot down a note about you, like that you might be vegan, and maybe I'll go find a really, really awesome, a recipe that in my Rolodex, my whole your grandmother's handwriting can never be replaced. When it says it looks right, do listen to what it looks right or smells right. But I think if you have that little connection, to have an excuse to follow up, because you could be cliche, and unless you really know they like bourbon, coffee is boring now, or maybe they don't have the finance or the time to do that. But maybe find that one little interesting connection, or it could be like, hey, I'd like to introduce you to this really awesome woman who does period products, because we had this connection talking. I think those are things that will really help continue that relationship on.
What Betsy is saying, we call that kind of the golden nugget, right? So when you find that common ground, what's that connection that you can kind of go back to? And as Amy mentioned, the second conversation is more important than the first. But from a business perspective, back to your question, I think without being salesy or kind of creating that funnel, I think people should be aware of what you do. And if there's a problem that you can help solve, they should understand kind of the scope of your services. And then there's a natural collaboration there. So at a high level, I act as a certified financial planner. I help business owners and professionals kind of solve complex problems, create long-term strategy around big financial decisions, and coordinate with their CPA and attorney to kind of put that strategy and roadmap into the plan. And understanding kind of that lens and that kind of financial services aspect, I can then talk to people about mega backdoor Roths or tax straight savings strategy. What are areas that we can help solve problems? And then take that golden nugget or that common ground, and then as you move forward, it's easy to kind of make the business kind of come naturally.
All right, so for me, I want to give an example. So my friend Tanya is right here. So we both serve on the chamber board, and so we partner all the time. And that doesn't always mean money. It means us help show up for each other. We show up for the chamber. Tanya is amazing, supportive. I'm the organizer, the one that's intentional. And so a lot of times I'm texting Tanya. Like, hey, are you coming today? And she's just like, hey, can you save me a So, but yes. So we know both of us have strengths, but we show up for each other. We collaborate not only through being on the chamber board, but also in business. And so for me, I am not a salesy person. I try, and my method is attracting people to me. So I love to just put a lot of positivity, sharing things, and like you said, use the digital tools. I have digital tools on Facebook. I have a Facebook group called Courageous Women in Leadership. So I'm, always trying to put encouraging messages out there. Sometimes I tell people a lot of the messages, they probably like, how do you come up with this stuff? And I'll be like, a lot of times it's things that I'm even experiencing myself or lessons that I've learned. I don't look at things as failures. I believe that everything happens for a reason. So if I'm talking about transition, or if I'm talking about feeling valued, something usually has occurred that I want to share that maybe someone else may be experiencing the same thing. And I know that a lot of times we don't want anybody to go through things, but when they find out, like, it's not just me, like, I'm not just crazy, like, and so there is support out here for me. So being in the leadership space and hosting events, I love bringing people together. And so one of my passions is making sure when I interact with people that they feel seen, they feel heard, they know that I listen to them. And I meet people sometimes, that's the first time I met them, and they'll tell me things, and I'll be like, wow, I must have really made you feel comfortable. But just for me, I think when I start off the year, and I would say start the year, I'm not a person, I used to be thinking like, okay, January, I'm going to go on this diet, I'm going to go to the gym. I don't do that anymore. I mean, my health is important, but I started off with claiming 2 words, like alignment and intention. So when I'm making connections and building relationships, I'm like, do we align? So if we do, then I'm going to be intentional. So it doesn't matter to me that, I know Tanya's busy, but I'm going to text her and we're going to get something on the calendar. But I do that with other people as well. So I think it's just, again, being intentional, making sure you align, and just, move forward.
And just another plug for LinkedIn. I think that's the most valuable social media platform for me today. I've pretty much gotten off of everything else, but that even helped me find the job in Macon, just having connections. I had never met the person, but I saw they shared the job opportunity, and that just starts. You can find out so much about a person and their organization just by viewing their LinkedIn profile. So my next victim is Amy, and I'm very interested in your response to this question. So what's something small that businesses can do to stay top of mind for someone?
Thank you. So in the advertising and marketing world, there's something called a drip campaign. And I don't know if you know what that is, but I will explain it to you. A drip campaign is when you schedule messages to be delivered to particular people at particular times, usually about a particular subject. So there are a lot of CRM, which are customer relation management tools, that will actually do this for you. You can tailor them for the specific industry or the specific person and set it up so that they always have your name in front of them. Now, I'm not saying become a stalker. Don't do that, because that's bad. But having something in your inbox or being texted to you, or again, on a LinkedIn message, something like that, that will continually put your name and your business's message in front of the people is the best way to do that. So again, it goes back to consistency. You have to show up, and you have to continue to show up. And sometimes that means using your tools to do it, sometimes it means using your face to do it. But that is the best way to do it. Be consistent and always stay in touch. Make sure you have something of interest to say.
I'm just going to ask you to hijack this mic. So talking about technology think about when you're in a room full of people, or this is after hours next week, pop on for a few minutes on LinkedIn or Facebook, for them before the business after hours. And then you see someone, congratulate them on, the vacation they went on, or spring break, or whatever it is. It gives you, again, kind of that shows that you're intentional, you want to be a connector, and kind of you take a genuine interest and curiosity in people's.
And I just want to plug, finding a good mentor can help you build so many relationships. So I can't tell you just the mentors I've had over the years, and DeBose is a great example of that locally. So when I moved here, he met me at the office first day, and we did this walking tour of around Macon, and he's just given me so many connections and knowledge. So having a mentor will always help that as well. Katrina, I'm curious about, with your business hat, your role on the chamber board, how have you seen strong connections actually move things forward in our community?
I just think it's so important. As for me, like not being from Macon, but getting to do so many amazing things. So before I even was able to get invited to serve on the chamber board, I was nominated and selected to participate in Leadership Macon. So when I saw Jeff in this Leadership Macon pin, I was like, man, I should have worn my pin. But it's been a few years ago, so I'm just like, I probably couldn't have found it, but I kind of knew he was going to wear it here, and I would have looked for it. But just, by, getting out and being visible, participating in the community, and showing up consistently, I've gotten to do so many amazing things. And I will tell you, I thought I was a little bit seasoned to participate in Leadership Macon. I really thought it was enough, because I see a lot of stuff that says under 40, and I was a little bit above. And so, but when I got nominated, I was just like, well, I'm going to try it. And then I was selected, and then this is my second year serving on the board. And again, nothing, I really didn't think about it, because I'm like, oh, small business, I still work a full-time job, so never really thought about it. But when I got nominated, I was like, okay, people seeing me. So, and when Jessica reached out, of course, it wasn't a done deal, but it made me feel really amazing and know that, okay, this is a possibility. And so, again, serving the second year, and when I commit to something, I'm going to show up. So I am an active board member, and I can't go to every event, but I go to a lot. So I just think it's so important, and just being on the board has definitely not only allowed me to meet more great people, but also to do collaborations in my own business that I may have not gotten an opportunity to do so. But just, those opportunities, and then again, a lot of it, some of them may even be introductions, so I was like telling the gentleman down, he's like, I'm interested in leadership development. I was like, well, don't you leave here without one of my new brochures. So I think, when you have those opportunities, even when you may have not crossed your mind, I always say have a growth mindset. That's another thing. Like, I'm always, even if I didn't think about it myself, if someone presents an opportunity, if it's available and I can do it and know I can do it well, and then it's going to be a yes.
I love that. And that's a good segue to this question, too. So this is for the entire panel, anyone who wants to answer it. My cue card says 1 week, but we're going to take that down. So it says, what's one simple thing someone in this room could do this week to build a stronger connection? I'm going to throw out this week and say today, we're in here, we're connecting. What can someone do before they leave this room to build a stronger connection with someone else? So anybody's welcome.
I'm going to give a two-part answer here. The first one, in this room today, think about someone you were having coffee with and chatting in the next room before we came into here. And use that digital card, use those tools, connect, but then before you leave here, schedule a coffee or a cocktail. Get that second meeting on the books. That's your kind of action for today.
It's not false.
It's the follow-through. Follow-through is key. The second thing is you mentioned mentors, and that's one of my cheat codes. Find people that you respect, you admire, who are ahead of you, where you want to go, and then set that coffee or cocktail or lunch with them. Invite them, ask for their help, to kind of become your mentor. I've been blessed to have a wealth of options and people that I've looked up to, and everyone I've asked to be a mentor or to kind of create that relationship, they've always said yes. No one is going to, if you ask for help and you're authentic and genuine, they're not going to say no. So take that leap, find a mentor, but connect today. Anyone else?
So everybody has the opportunity today because we're here, right? So my challenge for you is to find a connection today that's not here. When you leave here, purposefully go meet somebody new, introduce yourself, and start a connection there. From there, you will grow like a spider web. It'll just connect, connect, connect. But this is a great launch opportunity, so I'm challenging you to continue this for the rest of the day and go find somebody else as well.
I just want to say, don't put limits on yourself. Sometimes, especially for, I'll speak from a small business owner, when you first think of joining a chamber, and this chamber is so amazing that it's broke that what you think about. You usually think, okay, I'm just a small, player on the team. But when I tell you that I don't feel like that, and being asked to serve on a panel, when I come to any chamber event, they make me feel welcome. Like, this is not just a board I serve on, this is my chamber family. And so, if you're not connected or you want to get connected, this is a great place to start. And you don't initially have to be a member. I didn't start out as a member. You can come visit. I always say court, even like you dating, like you go on the first, for a few dates, before you commit. You can do that at the chamber too. Like, come to a few after hours, come to a few view crews, and see if you like it, if you're connecting with people, and if you find it's a good fit, then you go ahead and commit to that relationship. And that's what I did, and it's just been so rewarding. Like I said, just from starting out as a member, then leadership making, now on the board. Now I'm just like, Jessica, what's next? No, probably not that. But I would just say, don't, let those limits or self-doubt. Just go ahead, jump in there, show up, and then opportunities will open up. I feel like those things, like I said, I'm attracted to me because it wasn't really in my plan, but I'm grateful and thankful that those opportunities open up for me.
Her call to action is join the chamber today.
And I think that's very wise. I want to thank the panelists for being here. I'm going to open this up to the audience because I want to hear from one or two of you. I'm going to ask you to stand and enunciate so everyone can hear you. What is a cheat code you have for mastering the art of connection? A tip that you might want to leave with your colleagues and friends and neighbors in this room today, and anybody is welcome. Oh boy. So this is where I'll tell my staff I'm going to pick somebody at random. Sure, please.
So pink hair is a really good strategy.
What if you don't have hair?
And I'm not joking. It is funny, but when I did pink hair and I started my businesses afterward, I told my hairdresser she really needed to invest in a lot of pink because this is my brand. And I think that there's a tongue-in-cheek part of that, but you're presenting a brand in your presentation, and it can be your smile, it can be your hair, it can be whatever. But you have to remember that you're representing your brand every time you're going out. So you want to be true to whatever that brand is. And so I provide connections and I
Anybody else? Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah,
Hey,
go ahead.
I'm Laura with Spring on Staffing. I'm an ambassador with the chamber. So probably the best advice is just go into it with a servant heart. Networking is all about what can I do for you, not what you can do for me. So just introduce yourself, get involved, serve in your community, and then people will be attracted to you to want to help you as well.
Thank you so much for that. Again, thank you to the panel. I have a little gift for all of you for doing this today, for being my willing victims on Friday. So I'm going to ask you to pass those down. Take one, pass it down. Thank you all so very much, and I will wrap it up and turn it back over to Jessica.
This is such a fun group of just showing like the range of what you find in the Chamber of Commerce. From the presidents of organizations and companies to, like Katrina keeps saying, her small business that she continues to nurture and grow. And of course, we've always loved Amy's story about coming into Macon and how the Chamber was her first step. So, Joshua, great job on that. I think, yeah, that was a good job. Attractive and fun to listen to is the stories. It's the stories of our people, and that's what the Macon Melody is able to produce locally for us. So thank you for bringing those stories to life. Okay, we have 2 post-program QR slides. This one is our survey. Please help just give us your feedback. We continue to grow Brew, come up with new ideas for Brew. We want to make sure everything we do is worth your time. We know how precious that is to all of us, especially, if you want something done, you ask the busiest people to do it. These are very busy people in this room. So just ask you to take another busy moment and complete our survey. The other thing is business after hours. You want to continue the connections. You want to continue the conversations. Yeah. We will see you next Thursday in Tier 2 Technologies. Like I said, there's going to be a bar. There's going to be video games. Make eye contact with Sat right there. It'll be great. So that will be. Just, you can go ahead and register here, like I said. So you can go ahead and have your name tag ready. Bring a friend. If you are new to the chamber, if you want to talk about joining, Jen is our person for that. She will be happy to explain some of the benefits. It is truly about connection, but some of the other things we do include health insurance plans for your business, some of the tools and resources that can help your business, in addition to advocating for your business. So we are busy for you in that sense. All right, with all that said, y'all make sure we don't have to put snacks up. Y'all feel free to grab something to go from Sweet Eleanor's. If you like what you tasted, they will be there on Tuesday for State of the Community, along with New Way and, Circa, so many others. So I hope to see you there, and have a great weekend. Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much.
Yeah. You scan it, you can just put out this, just say it. You can bookmark the episode. Bookmark the episode, but bookmark the website. I am trying to scan it. Yeah, next Thursday. I want to go party. Which one is it?
Remember.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
You got money.
Oh, yeah.
You know you got money.
Oh, yeah.
Are you coming, Z?
I am an art instructor. Yeah, I'm with Cornerstone Academy. There's some good people there. I love them.